Welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specializing in the wedding industry. Each week, we'll explore the strategies, stories, and insider tips that help wedding professionals thrive. You'll hear solo episodes filled with actionable advice for social media and inspiring conversations with esteemed wedding industry guests. Thank you for tuning in and letting this podcast be a part of your day. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. Or if this is your first one, hello, my name is Nina Adio. I'm the owner of I Do Wedding Marketing, which is a social media marketing agency specifically for wedding industry professionals. So on this podcast, we love to bring the marketing and business advice directly to wedding pros. Now, typically for me, my areas of expertise are social media platforms that are a bit more social based and a little less search engine based. So when I say search based, I'm really talking Pinterest, maybe even YouTube. And social based for me is Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, etc. So when it comes to tools like Pinterest, Google, I have to have other experts come on to give you guys all of those tools. So recently for SEO, we have had Taylor from Aligned SEO on. We've had Sarah Dunn from Sarah Does SEO. So go back and check those out if you are looking to get information on that. But today we're going to be focused on Pinterest because I have Pinterest speaker, master, guru, Laura Rike on the podcast today. And I'm really excited to be learning things I never knew before about Pinterest because pretty much all of it I've never known, but I already know she's gonna have good stuff because when I did a story before recording this episode and tagged her in it, and I got a very authentic automated response saying, "Thanks for tagging me in your story. How can I help your business today?" And I thought, oh my God, she has people tagging her in stories that are not just friends. They are customers from her courses, they're students, they're clients. And I was like, I'm impressed. Because for me, if I did that, I would just be sending that automated message to my friends. So I thought that was amazing. So if you haven't heard of Laura before, Laura Rike is a Pinterest strategist who helps entrepreneurs and content creators. In this case, we're going to be talking specifically to wedding pros, increase online sales and sign more clients and couples with the power of Pinterest, utilizing organic methods and scaling with ads. She's helped clients and students bring in over 50K in monthly revenue. Her clients have become industry leaders with six-figure businesses and are growing sustainably by ranking on the first page of Google and getting targeted email leads daily. How would daily leads, guys, change your life? If you need a place to start, she offers a Pinterest masterclass. So I'm going to have that in the show notes of this episode. And that's where you can get started to get more visible online and grow sustainably by ranking on the first page of Google and getting those targeted email leads daily that we spoke about. So you'll have the resource for getting the masterclass. And now let's get to the interview. Laura, thank you so much for being here. Where are you coming from today?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I am actually located in central Minnesota.
Oh, very nice. Anyone watching on video, we're putting these on YouTube now. Laura has a beautiful fuchsia, would you say, background?
Yes,
Love it. Very
yes,
on brand.
it is. They're my brand colors, and I actually live by them. I always have pink or purple-ish type
She's showing her
of.
nails now too. Yep.
Yes, my wedding was also fuchsia, since we're talking
Gosh.
weddings. My husband was kind enough to let me make the guys all wear like this bright pink fuchsia tie thing. So it was great.
That's so fun. My husband and I were both in a wedding party where the color was purple, and they had the guys in these shiny purple vests, and he just ended up looking like a magician. It was actually a lot of fun because then I was the
Love
magician's
it.
assistant.
Yes, I love that. That's awesome.
So, Laura, can you tell me your Pinterest origin story?
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes. So I've actually been on Pinterest since it was invite only back in
Which
2009.
I can't even remember that. How cool is that? That Pinterest was invite only.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually really coincidental for me because my oldest child was born in 2008. So it's easier for me to remember when that was. I actually started out going to school for graphic design and marketing, and I didn't find that love. It was considered the degree back then was advertising design. And so I really wasn't like focused on that. I had a couple jobs that I did locally. I worked for some people before virtual assistant was a coined term back then as well, and started really just trying to figure out what challenged me, but also was fun with the design elements and that kind of spark side of me that I loved. And Pinterest came out and I started playing with it. And back then, got results for the couple of virtual assistants clients I was working with. And so I just decided to go all in on that. I won't say that it was an easy shift, right? Like when we tell these stories, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I just chose this and went down that path. It did take me a couple years to realize, like, I can only focus on Pinterest. Been doing that now ever since. Added in ads for Pinterest about 6 years ago and been doing it every day. And I love it. And it's a new challenge, new process, new things for me to kind of dip my toes into every day. And I kind of like that challenge.
Absolutely. So you're a bit of a pioneer for this whole online working world that
Yeah,
we're in.
I didn't know it, but yeah, I guess.
I can relate so much. I graduated just a few years after, and social media marketing was not a career. No, I
Yes.
ended up doing speech communications and rhetorical studies, which now helps me with content. But it was like it didn't exist yet, you know?
Yeah. And you hear so many stories like that because it was like you went for like literature or something else. And now that is so beneficial for the online world, but that's not what we thought we were going to be doing.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was just like rolling I had no idea what I was going to be doing, but I wanted to be a professional student.
Yep.
So, for the wedding professionals listening, how is Pinterest different from Instagram or TikTok or the other big social media platforms when marketing a wedding business?
Yes. So this is one of my favorite questions. The biggest difference is we're going to talk about the computer side of Pinterest and the user side of Pinterest. The computer side of Pinterest is 100% search-based esque abilities. And so even when you're a user, if you see your feed, it's based off of your content searches. Whereas if you go to Facebook or Instagram, you still have search ability, but your feed isn't necessarily going to be 100% focused on those searches. Maybe the ads here and there, but it's not serving you for what you are currently actively involved in. Social media is more of the social aspect. You're scrolling your feed and you happen upon something, and you might be like, oh, yeah, this is great. Maybe I will look at this later, or you look at it now and think you'll come back to it. And sometimes you do. However, on Pinterest, the users on this platform are already past that stall of, is this for me right now? Is this something I'm interested in? Do I want to purchase? Do I want to sign up? They're actively past that and looking for those solutions. And solution doesn't mean like an email sign up, or it doesn't mean like a DIY or things like that. It can mean purchases too. They're planning out things. They're looking to make that sale. They're looking to find that person that they're going to collaborate with on all different levels, whether it's digital downloads, whether it's hiring you, whether it's just calling you up, right? And so it's vastly different in that way because they're ready for you and they are not brand specific. So they're not going to the platform saying, I'm looking for Lululemon or I'm looking for Target or whatever. They are just looking for a person that they can learn to trust and believe in. And if your stuff pulls up first, that's going to be who they go to with that open door policy, basically, is what I'll call it, of I'm open to trusting this person. Let's see what they have to offer.
This is so powerful. We had the other week on the podcast Taylor from Aligned SEO speaking about Google, and it's very similar because when
Yes.
somebody's Googling something, they're ready. So on Pinterest, you could show up on a place where you know people are already looking for it. Like
Yes.
that is just so powerful. I know just through that alone, you sold everybody listening. So let's start with their profile. Should they be optimizing their profile? What should they do with that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different nuances that you want to make sure. A lot of people go into it and they set up a profile with either their name or their business name and then their bio. And 9 times out of 10, when you're brand new to the platform, I see people putting like a link in their bio. The links in your bio aren't clickable. Hashtags aren't searchable and aren't used on the platform anymore. So you really want to focus on the SEO side of things. And Pinterest has a similar SEO style as Google, but it's a lot easier from a platform standpoint. For keywords and for what you want to be found for, my one unbiased opinion of should you be on the platform, and two, how to find the right keywords, go to the search bar. Pull up the mobile device, the Pinterest on your desktop, go to the search bar and search what it is that you offer, how you are unique, what you want to be known for. And then underneath that, before you click enter, there's going to be a drop down list that Pinterest gives to you. That is the most highly searched terms in the current moment for what we call ABC search. So it'll list them in ABC order. So that right there are key terms that you want to take note of. And then also when you hit enter, anything that pulls up in pins in that top 2 or 3 rows, if those are things you talk about, if those are things you offer in services, you have lead magnets for, whatever it is, that's your missed opportunity. And that's how you know you should be doing that. So those are the phrases you want in your bio, in your profile name. And that's like a little insider tip is in your profile name on Pinterest, put 1 to 2 keywords in there. If you look at mine, it'll say Laura Rike, but it'll also say inbound marketing because people might not be searching for Pinterest. They might not know about Pinterest, but they want the leads to come to them. And so maybe they're searching inbound marketing. That will then help my stuff pull up, my profile, my pins, things like that. So that would be my biggest tip for your guys' profile.
I already have questions because I'm so ready to do this.
Yeah.
Should wedding pros be focused on broader keywords or location specific keywords?
Yeah, so if you are a location specific wedding specialist, you want to make sure that you have a mix of both. So the broader keywords are going to go on your profile, on your boards, because Pinterest as the computer needs to understand where to serve your content. And so that's going to come from the boards. Now, as a user, those pins need to have your location specific on there. So that way, when they're searching on the platform, venues near me or whatever it is that you offer, right? Then that pulls up for their location. Or if they're doing a destination wedding and you serve destination weddings, make sure you have that destination location on your pins because then when they type that in, that's going to be what pulls up.
Okay, so let's say I am a wedding planner in Detroit, Michigan, and you
Yeah.
mentioned the boards. What
Yes.
boards should I set up when I'm getting started?
Yeah, so Pinterest has something they call ideas. They used to be called categories. I mean, they've gone through a number of different names. But if you go to pinterest.com/ideas, you'll see a category for wedding specific. When you click on that, that is going to take you into all of the categories that the computer understands. And so you'll see what's called related interests. Your boards need to be centered around these related interests so that Pinterest, the computer, knows who to serve the content to. If you say something like simple wedding fun, when the category is simple wedding, the computer will get confused. So this is where you want some broad categories and you want some lower, like not lower in terms of search, but lower in terms of more niche type categories. And you can click through all of these interests. It will continue to give you more interests. They also do have something online, which I can give you, Nina, to put in the show notes, but it's their bulk sheet interest list. And so really it's just taking all of those interest categories and putting it into a spreadsheet for you so that you can then do a search. And when you do a wedding search, there's 460 different categories that you can use for board titles. And then this is what specifically will tell the computer or the code, this is what I want to be known for, whether it's wedding decorations, wedding decor, wedding venue, like it doesn't matter, but you're going to have a mix of those for your boards before you get into the location type stuff on your pins.
So I was now because you might have been able to tell I was following along on
Yeah.
Pinterest while you were doing that. And one of my accounts is an elopement account. They do destination
Yeah.
elopement. So now I'm thinking, should I be, instead of saying elopement all the time, saying small wedding ideas or simple weddings? Because that's what I'm seeing on these boards.
Yep. And then another one that I see when I was doing it too is dream wedding ideas. And
Yes.
so there might be those tweaks, and that's why I say go to the platform and search, because then Pinterest will suggest to you what those tweaks are. If you type in elopement, it might show you some elopement stuff, but if you're not seeing other related key terms come across the top when you're doing your searches, then you might want to look at different terms that you want to be found for. And that's really where I tell people to start, is either the ideas or the bulk sheet list, because it's just the CSV of the idea categories, but it can really give you that hone in on what is actually the computer understanding. Then on your pins, go ahead and type elopement, because that way, if someone is searching elopement, you're found in both places. They understand what they're seeing. There's that similarity.
So I only need it for the board and then filing essentially the
Mhm.
pins. Wow.
Yeah,
That's so
so
cool.
when we talk about computer and user, computer, everything is profile and boards. Then when the user, it's all of your pins and your designs and your key terms on the pins, because 9 times out of 10, the user is going to find your pin over anything else. So the strategy behind it is making sure that your computer strategy is set up to serve correctly for the user to relate to what you're saying.
Love it. I'm like so ready to get going.
Yeah.
But so now that you've described, the computer side, let's get more to that user side. What makes a good pin for a wedding pro to attract somebody?
Yeah. So this is something that you're definitely going to have to test on your own. There are two very big outliers that come up a lot. One of them is the amazing graphics you guys have, right? There's gorgeous venues, there's gorgeous floral arrangements, wedding dresses, like all the things depending on what you guys actually like service and offer, or what you have in terms of user generated content, which I'll shorten for the future, UGC. Those images, you still want to make sure that you are sharing them, but you also need to make sure that they are searchable. So the file name needs to be searchable. The image itself needs to have a purpose and where it leads to. Some of those images, I know they're gorgeous and sometimes it kills you guys, but you do need to put the titles on top of it. And so that's the second form of the image as well, right? And so it's similar to like food bloggers. They have gorgeous pictures of these recipes. And then you also have the gorgeous pictures with the title on top. We always A/B test both because something that's going to pull somebody in just for a look, more than likely on the platform, they're going to save it, which is formerly called a repin, or they're going to just look at it and put it on an inspiration board or click through to pull it closer and get some ideas, like screenshot things like that. They're not necessarily doing the outbound click to your content, your website, your sign up page. So that's where then doing that same image or a similar image with a title on top, it has your keywords, it has your content, it helps be shown for those searches, but it also gives them the context of like, if someone's saying, like right now on my screen, it says growing your floral business has never been easier. Obviously, that's someone helping someone in the wedding space, but that to me is like, oh, okay, well, how do I grow this, right? Let's do this. So you want different things on there, like unexpected wedding expenses. Let us help you plan this, or let's do a budget, or what to wear for your photographer, how to pick the perfect outfit. Here's one, destination weddings, where to start, like how to find your searches, how to narrow down where you want to go. And they can still be tiny. They don't have to overtake the whole graphic, but you want to have that test to know what your audience is actually going to take action on. Also, I know this is a long-winded point, but on this test, you're going to learn to look at your analytics differently. So some of the images that don't have the text overlay on are going to boost your impressions and your saves. That is engagement. So for the computer side, that is what you consider social engagement on Pinterest. That will then push your pin higher in the search results. So that's why we also do both of those styles, because one is for searchability and call to action to get them to take that action. The other one's for the computer. Again, always computer and user when we're talking strategy.
Oh, this is making me so excited because it's kind of, I'm, it's different than Instagram, but there are things that are similar to me because I always
Very
tell
similar.
people we do both reels and visual posts because the reels bring in new people. The visual post really helps to convert them, the still
Yeah.
posts. And here with Pinterest, we do both. The text overlay gives context, and then without the text is computer based. So
Yep.
that was really, I'm just, I'm getting
Yeah.
excited about it.
100%. I love it.
You mentioned in your bio and when talking about the Pinterest Masterclass appearing on Google and Google page one, how do Pinterest and Google work together?
Yeah, so Google has a higher domain authority than any one of our websites do, mine included. And so, really, it's that trust factor between Google and Pinterest. When someone Googles like romantic wedding theme ideas, there are going to be Pinterest pins that have been dedicated in the algorithm with those key terms to show up on that search. So, it's like a secondary redirection because what happens then is it shows up on the first page of Google, they click that pin then brings them to the website. And so it's just like a funnel path where you're using the power of Google, and someone that's on Google but has a Pinterest account understands how it works. So they know that if they click on this pin, they're going to be able to either go to your website or see more from you and those pins and kind of go down that rabbit hole, so to speak.
Talking about the pin designs and kind of the A/B testing, listeners may be getting overwhelmed thinking, oh my God, I can't edit this. Can you talk about any tips, whether it's using how Tailwind works or what you recommend for somebody who's already exhausted about
Yeah.
the potential content?
Yeah, so when talking about this, like I have been doing this for so many years. So I will backpedal and say if you have images with no text overlay and you want to get started on Pinterest, just do it. don't put the text overlay on then. If that prevents you from using the platform, do what you can, because from all the platforms online, I will tell you Pinterest is the most forgiving. They reward action, and you can always change what's happening on the platform because Pinterest is dynamic. So if you go in and you start doing title overlays, then it will just boost what you've been doing in the past. So I will caveat everything to say, please just start on the platform, especially within the industry you guys are on. It's a huge industry on this platform and so needed for your guys' expertise and help with the users that are there. So that is my caveat, just start. To make things easier, there are Canva templates. You can go straight to Canva, and when you're in Canva, click on the Pinterest pin, and then in the search bar of Canva, type in wedding, and it will give you wedding layouts. There are also individuals like myself and other Pinterest strategists out there or graphic designers that have Pinterest templates that are specifically designed to help you convert. Then all you have to do is drag and drop your image onto that template, change the title, and bam, you have your image. So that is also something to quicken the process for you and start to get more involved if you want to A/B test those images with just the image and then the title. The other thing is Pinterest did open up its platform. So little mumbo jumbo for you, for those of you who like tech, the API is now open. Just fancy terms for saying anybody that uses Pinterest direct code can be an approved scheduler. So you can use platforms like Tailwind or Later or Metricool or Planoly. Those are kind of my 4 favorites because they help you repurpose with the intention of keeping that pin fresh. And without getting too into the weeds of that, because there's a lot of strategy behind that, basically, when you have multiple boards, if that board is relevant to the pin you are sharing, over time, you can reshare that same pin to each of those boards. You will not be penalized for that. And so those platforms have practices set up in there to help you repurpose. Like Tailwind calls it interval pinning. Later has a different tag in there to choose different boards. Same with Planoly. Metricool, same thing. You can even upload a CSV of like a bunch of image files to Metricool and do it that way. So there's a lot of different options out there. I will provide you with a blog post of my top favorites. I scored them all from 0 to 10, why they're my favorite, what works, what doesn't. I have things like Canva in there too. You can schedule direct from Canva. And so that way you can make your unbiased opinion of what scheduler you want to use. Pinterest does have a native scheduler. Just keep in mind, it only goes out so far. So I think you can only do about 2 weeks, and you can only schedule so many pins. So it makes it a little bit more convoluted to try to do that repurposing with the fresh images that you're going to put on the platform.
From what I understand, and this came from a client who was on Tailwind, so I went inside their Tailwind, which I'd never been in before, and it looks like Tailwind creates the pins as well.
You can have that option to purchase a add-on, is what they call it.
Okay.
And then you do have the ability to use Tailwind Create. Yes, you can upload images and it will create like a number of different styles for that image. You can choose the industry you're in. I do believe they have a wedding style industry in there so that it will try to keep it similar to what other wedding pins look like. And then you can say that title. Keep in mind when you do that, I think that's a great tool for beginners. I think when you get more advanced, you'll see that it's not as easy to keep up on, because when you put that one title in, it's going to create 10 images of that one title. And so you want to make sure that you're varying the different titles and keywords and things when you get to that next step in your strategy. For beginners, it's 100% amazing and it's definitely very helpful.
And I think what the volume we're talking about, I think is because Pinterest is different, and let's hear you talk about it, than Instagram, where you post once a day, that's considered a lot. What is the ideal frequency for Pinterest?
So this really honestly depends on how your account is doing and the back end analytics. It also depends on the type of content you have. So, how much content, how long you've been doing this. I've been blogging and on socials for 15 plus years talking about Pinterest. So, I have tons of content. I post 15 to 20 times a day on Pinterest. I also have clients who are posting 3 times a day or once every other day. And I did a case study on this where we had a client who had an unfortunate accident, couldn't create any new content, and she just wanted Pinterest to sustain her business. We had another client who was posting a new blog post twice a week. We took those 2 clients, scheduled a very strict schedule for an entire month for both of them, and the percentage of increases were almost identical. One of them was scheduling 1 pin per day every day. One of them was scheduling 7 pins per day. I think it was like 7 or 10 every single day. And across that month, they both grew percentage-wise the exact same. So again, when I say Pinterest is forgiving, it is very, very forgiving. They just want the action and the consistency. So if that means 1 pin a day for you, do that. Some of my clients, it's 1 pin every other day. Do that. Again, we have clients that are all the way up to 20, 25 pins a day. Be very mindful of what your analytics say. Are you increasing impressions? Are you increasing outbound clicks? Are the engagements and saves happening? Because if that is, then you can continue to do more if you have more. If it's not, then I would say go back to the pin designs or go back to where you're linking and start to see where that fall off is before you increase the amount of content you're putting out there.
Great. So you mentioned where we're linking. So can you talk a little bit about the best practices for linking and what we mean by that?
Yeah. So every time you put a pin or an image on the platform, you have the ability to link somewhere. This, at its core, when it was back in invite only days, was a redirection site. It still practices that way, it still works that way. So you want to be able to link to where it's going to be best for you. So if you are converting the most right now on a singular landing page, then you want to link to that. You want to link to Instagram. You want to link to a blog post, link to sales pages. Wherever you have content online that is already converting for you, that's going to be your first step. The second step is the filler type stuff, right? Where you still want to bring in that trust and that like and know and the traffic. So if you're converting on Instagram, Instagram can be claimed on the platform. So you will be able to track that traffic in your analytics. It's the only social platform that is able to be tracked with Pinterest. So definitely do that. If you then, after you have shared this pin connected to an Instagram post, also say have a blog post that is similar, then share another pin linking to the blog post. So that way, then you have multiple places that people can consume that type of content that you have, whether it's video, I mean, even for you, podcasting, right? Like you're going to have the podcast episode, you're going to have maybe a blog post, you're going to have video snippets on Instagram. Those are 3 different links for one piece of content. And so if you have 3 different images you attach to each link, now that's 3 pins going to that one piece of content, but with 3 different links. You can share it all this week.
It's already the math is like hurting my brain of like, all right, so I got 3 different locations, 3 different titles
Yeah,
that could be, so
but
now
you
I'm like
can
six.
see how
Yeah.
over time, though,
Yeah.
you're going to compound on that. So
Hmm.
when I say 1 pin a day,
It's
if you
pretty.
already have how many podcasts, right? Say you have 10 podcasts, you're already a week done.
Yeah. So I
for
have
each
over
podcast.
150 episodes. We're going to be
There you go.
busy.
Even if you did one pin for every
Wow.
single episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I'm just thinking.
I know. And then again, that next step strategy, we can create anywhere from 5 to 7 different images loosely. This is not a hard and fast rule for every single piece of content. So if you take 150 times 5, I'm not good at math, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that number, you would then have that many pins for all your podcasts.
So what would these images look like when you say that?
Yeah. So they can be text-based only
Mm,
with a background. They can be image only. They can be a collage style. They can be image with text on top of it. There's a number of different ways. You just have to kind of go and explore and see what one is going to be the easiest for you to stay consistent with and what people are engaging with.
I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
overwhelmed and excited at the same time.
Yeah.
Is there any existing content a wedding pro may have, whether it be through their Instagram posts or something else, that could be repurposed to Pinterest?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. 100% all of it. If you have been posting reels on Instagram, post those as video pins. If you have been posting carousels, post those as an idea pin. All of it can be repurposed.
Okay, so let's just do one last kind of like Pinterest tangible action question. We'll keep it the same wedding planner in Detroit. I've got one gallery and I've got a full day to spend on Pinterest.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Well, the first thing is to make sure your profile is set up. I would, one of the keywords, put location specific in your profile somewhere,
Okay.
whether it's your bio or your name. The next thing then, I would go and look at the search bar and I would type in wedding planning Detroit and I would see if anything pulls up for those keywords, write those down. Then I would just do wedding planning. And when I do that, I see right now checklist, decor, aesthetic, lists, binder. Those are the keywords then. I would go to the images that you have. I would start figuring out where you can say a link to wedding planning checklist. Do you have something that could be related to that? If yes, put that on an image, put it on Pinterest, and just keep going down the line with that. Don't be overly fancy, overly strategic if you're just starting out. Just do this because the more you play on the platform, the more fun you have on the platform, the more rewarding it will be for you.
I know so many people are going to get started when they listen to this. So I'm
Yeah.
just already so excited. Laura, what is your morning routine?
Ooh, my morning routine, I like to help my husband get the kids out the door. We have 3 kids, so he does a lot of the work, and I just kind of help make sure they're on time. I honestly, transparently will go lay back down most mornings in the bed because it is quiet and silent. And I will get caught up on emails. I will do my daily devotional that shows up on my home screen. I will scroll TikTok for inspiration. Come on, I get a good half hour of silence in bed to myself. And then I will get up and I also am a plant mom. So we have over 100 different plants from all around the world in my house. So I like to kind of pick a couple of them, give them a little love. And then I'll get set up on my walking pad with my desk and write out in my iPad what I need to get done for the day, what I've planned, what I didn't finish yesterday, maybe, and hop to it.
Love that you have as many plants as you do pins in a day. Like,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes, very clever, my dear.
So you mentioned, you've been educating on Pinterest for 15 years. How do you continue your education as a business owner?
Yeah, that is an amazing question. I have a lot of individuals who are also Pinterest strategists. We all look at things differently. So, a friend of mine is really good at deciphering code and helping me figure out how to learn how to look at the back end of code because I'm a data nerd. Another friend of mine is a graphic designer like me, but she is strict graphic design, not on Pinterest. And so, collabing with her and thinking about different ways to do this better. I have another friend of mine who is a color strategist. So, talking with her about what color SEO means, how different colors affect our actions and our feelings, and bringing that into Pinterest. I mean, that's just to name a few of them, but I have a lot of individuals where I like to kind of pull different pieces from, and we kind of all collab in like a mastermind group. And it's really fun to be able to have everybody's experiences and different walks of life and love languages for their business and kind of inputting that all into different ways that we can use that in our business too.
Gonna add in now, what is your love language?
Words of affirmation is my first love language, and then physical touch is my second.
I need material gifts and words of affirmation.
Yeah, my husband actually is directly flip. So physical touch and then words of affirmation. So him and I are match made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah, it's so hard on my birthday with material gifts being it, because like if anyone does not get you a gift, it's like, oh, I got them a gift the past five, it's hard.
Yeah.
We're talking about, guys, the book, The Five Love Languages. It's
Yes.
very fascinating. If you don't want to know your own, knowing the love language of your best friends, your partner, your parents really helps you to understand
Does.
them.
Yeah. Yep. And family and kids and everybody. It's actually very, very helpful just to be able to relate to them on the level of understanding that they're gonna find a deeper connection with you on.
Yeah. So Laura, where can our listeners find you, and what's the best place for them to get started? Because I know you have a lot of courses and entry points.
Yeah, actually, so we streamlined everything now. So all my courses and trainings and everything is bundled up in one nice little package inside of results. So we have fantastic results. I do coaching calls, group coaching calls, and all my courses and trainings and templates you get in there. And I have all of this on a nice little page, laurarike.com/podcast. So I have different offers on there for like my masterclass, PDFs to get you started, things like that. But I also have my results information and then my management information. So everything is right there in a nice packaged bow for you guys.
Beautiful. I will be putting that in the show notes. I hope you guys will show up for Laura and follow her on Instagram. Check
Yeah.
out her link with all of her courses, because wow, she gave us a lot of not only free value, but tangible value that you can actually implement today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Laura, and we will see you all next time on the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast.